If you're somebody who is new to management, if you are somebody who is thinking about your next career move, if you are somebody who has got a team, if you are somebody who is a manager or is a supervisor, or if you're somebody working in a team, in this video, we're talking about the top 10 skills for new managers and for managers that you need to know, as reported in an article on the American Association of Management's website that we've been following quite closely. We thought we'd put our spin on it for you guys. We've specifically got a study that we're going to be talking about from Mank Tello, founder and CEO of mindtools.com, and Birkinshaw, Deputy Dean for programs at the London Business School. Those guys wrote this article in, which we've been following. There was a survey of 15,242 worldwide, identifying the most critical competencies for you guys. I talk about parallel competency a lot in our videos here at Best Practice, and I want you to think about that. What parallel competencies could you improve on in 2021? Something to think about over the break at the end of 2020 and through into 2021. So something for you guys to be thinking about is, what are the parallel competencies? So the competencies beside your core competency that you might need to learn or be aware of. And we've been discussing this concept here at Best Practice the last couple of weeks of deliberate practice. What's your deliberate practice going to be? What's your deliberate best practice, or your deliberate practice you can turn into a best practice? So what are you deliberately practicing? What skills are you deliberately practicing that you can improve on? Either improving your strengths, and I think that's a good thing to be focusing on. A lot of people say, oh, we need to work on our weaknesses. We need to work on what's going on with our strengths and weakness. I think it's a good idea to be improving your strengths and keep playing to your strengths. Look at your gaps and finding people whose strength is your weakness and complementing yourself. And that's what we really want to be focusing on as a manager. It's not about trying to be able to do everything. As a manager, we've only got, in my simple view of the world, we've only really got one job, and that is to motivate and train the team members around us. I think lots about the concept of servant leadership. What does servant leadership look like? So leading by example so that you can delegate and elevate. So I've got the results of this particular study. We're going to go through the top 10 management competencies, the most popular, or in the opinion of the 15,000 people surveyed, in their opinion, what shone out as the top 10. So coming in, I'm going to actually go backwards for you guys today. So coming in at number 10, with 72.1% of the managers surveyed, they talked about using or understanding and using and being able to implement emotional intelligence. So out of the top 10, coming in at number 10 in 72.1% is using emotional intelligence. So starting simply, there's obviously lots to the subject of emotional intelligence. The one thing that I'd recommend that you do as my tip right now is, once you finish this, if you're madly writing notes, you can get into thinking about a thing called the emotion wheel and doing a Google Images search for the emotion wheel, and you can see the labels of all the emotions, and you can start to get a handle on that. So then the next question would be, once you can understand like a label for all of the emotions, you can then start to say, well, can I see that in people? See that in the people around me, and what can I do to help them improve or enhance their situation? Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to get into number 9 in terms of what competencies you need to build as a manager. But the really good thing for me here is, so I know who I'm talking to. It really helps me a lot if you guys let me know where you're watching from. I see Subis has just come on there online on LinkedIn. So if you are watching live on LinkedIn, I'm going through the top 10 competencies, most common competencies or most required competencies from a survey of 15,000 managers around the world, working one by one. So we've covered tip number 10. If you have got comments or you've got feedback for me as we're going through this presentation, please use the comments there on LinkedIn Live. We are recording the audio of this. That's this amazing microphone right here in front of me. So this is going to be available on the Kobe Simmet Audio Experience podcast. So we are recording the podcast. We'll have that up by the end of close of business today. The team here will strip it straight out and get it edited and get that straight up on the podcast for you. And I see we've got 9 people that have come along on board on live YouTube. So you guys there, if you want to drop a comment in, let me know where you are watching from. Okay. Oh, excellent. We've got, it's cold cold. We've got Eric there in Quebec in Canada. Thanks for joining us. We've got Nikki in Adelaide and Subas down in Melbourne. So for those of you that are commenting on the feeds there, there's a little bit of a lag, but great to have you guys on board today. And it's a bit cold over there in Canada, is it? So we've had a lovely morning here in Sydney, Australia. It's been absolutely stunning. Carl, great to have you on board this morning here in Sydney. Lovely sunny Sydney this morning, and sorry for you guys over there in cold Quebec. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, we're coming into summer and it's been absolutely fantastic. We had a lovely sunset, and I had a beer last night down by the water with my family and some fish and chips for dinner. So we're coming into summertime. So keep warm over there in Quebec and Canada. Ashley, great to have you guys on board as always in the live stream. So today we're talking about the top 10 skills. Yes, we are lucky. We are lucky. I appreciate that comment, Eric. So we're talking about the top 10 skills this morning. I'm going to get into it. Let's talk about coming in at number 9, building trust within your team. So your role as a supervisor, your role as a manager is to be thinking about how to build trust and how to build trust in your team members. From my perspective, I've focused a lot on trying to be from an emotional perspective, emotionally stable. So if I have got personal things going on, it's really important for me to not bring them to work, not to react, to be responding. So thinking about the concept of, am I reacting or am I responding? Start thinking about, how I can lead my team more effectively by being fairly resilient. And the other statement I live by is a thing called the leader sets the tone. So if I come into the office or I come into a meeting with my team and I've got something going on, or I'm a little bit stressed or I'm thinking about something, people will make comments because I am the person who injects a lot of energy into our team. Yesterday, I was in some quite complicated discussions, and I was thinking very seriously about that stuff, and someone made a statement in passing. I walked past them in the other office, and they said, "Oh, you're looking very serious today, Kobe," because usually I'm very, my eyebrows are up and I'm very enlightened and very energetic. A lot going on, and it really was a challenge for me to stay upbeat yesterday with a lot of serious discussions going on. So the leader sets the tone, so it is important, if that's the case, to take breaks between meetings as best you can. I take a moment, walk outside, take a couple of deep breaths, come back in, so I can always be in a state that is going to enhance the team around me, not detract from the team around me. So the other statement I live by is the concept of being a battery charger or a battery drainer. So are you a battery drainer or are you a battery charger? Do you add energy? Do you add enthusiasm to the team, or do you drain energy? So a team of A players all add energy into the team and lift the team up. So you want to be very mindful that you're not looking to, if you're a team member at the moment, not looking to people around you for energy, that you're adding in the energy, and that you're also, resilient in your own instance. So that's a good way to build trust with your team. Always showing up in the same way, not reacting, being fairly emotionally stable, delivering on the promises that you make, and that's a great way to build trust and respect over time. It's obviously very easy to lose someone's trust doing the wrong thing. And so I find, in terms of building trust, my final statement for building trust is super one-on-one. As a team leader, as a manager, as a supervisor, if you've got people in your team, it's more time together, not less. Yes, it's delegate and elevate, but it's leading by example. So building trust comes from leading by example. It comes from super one-on-one, comes from super high touch, and it comes from a lot of emotional intelligence, and then being a battery, being an energizer, if you like. Okay, so 73.3% of managers surveyed said building trust within your team. Okay, coming in at number 8. Again, anyone who's just come online, let me know where you are watching from. Even if you are watching after the live event, if you're watching the recording, I watch all of the comments and try to respond to everybody. So anybody watching this after the live stream on LinkedIn, please comment. And if you're watching after the live stream there on YouTube, please go ahead and let me know where you are watching from. And if you have got any questions, you use the comments there for questions. Welcome to summer in Bainbridge in Georgia in the USA. Great to have you guys on board. So we've got a great international community today. So lots of like-minded people who want to learn more about being a great leader and supervisor and manager. Okay, coming in at number 8 with 73.6% of managers surveyed, cultivating relationships with customers. I personally think that's really important, particularly in the organizations we're working with. We are talking about work. We are talking about being in organizations that are there to make money. You could be a not-for-profit. You could be a community service organization. We're there to provide a product or a service irrespective, whether we're a government department, a not-for-profit, or a very full-blown commercial entity. Cultivating great relationships with customers. We talk obviously here at Best Practice a lots about business systems and business management systems and quality management systems. So it is important to, be thinking about the customer experience and constantly educating people. I've just come out of an early Wednesday morning marketing meeting with the team, and I shared some experience with a meeting I had with a customer yesterday and some insights into that customer. And that has the team, consistently thinking about how they can improve the customer's experience. Ward, I hope I've said your name correctly, Florida in the USA. Great to have you guys on board this morning, watching from Florida. So excellent international community today. I'm really proud of you guys for finding us and finding us here on YouTube through searching and obviously on LinkedIn and joining us. So great to have you guys on board. So if you want your organization to get a shout out, I'm always happy to do that. Barbara, good to have you on board again over there in Woodbridge. So I haven't seen you for a while on the live stream. So Barbara, thanks for joining us. So again, hit the like button if you are on YouTube, and also the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the Best Practice YouTube channel. And you do need to turn on your notifications. I know you guys are following lots of pages now, so go ahead and turn on those notifications. Okay, coming in at, I've done number 8. Yes, I've done number 8, cultivating. So number 8 was cultivating relationships with customers, coming in at 73.6% of managers surveyed. Okay, coming in at number 7, developing new ideas to solve customers' problems, recommended by 74.4% of managers surveyed, and that is in terms of being an essential skill for a supervisor manager, really thinking about the stakeholders. I'm going to expand that out to be stakeholders, so developing new ideas to solve stakeholders' problems. And as a team leader or as a supervisor, it is important to make sure that you're engaging your team in that solutions process, and that the solution comes from the group, that it's not one individual solution. I have found in the past where I might be making the recommendation for the solution and then asking my team to go and implement it. If they disagree with it or they've tried it and they know it's not going to work, you're not going to get buy-in from your team members. Remembering this is a really important skill for you as a team member. Now, you can bring your team along to your idea, but I would suggest a good technique for developing new ideas to solve customers' problems, and you can build trust with your team as well, is to be speaking last. So posing a problem, posing the customer's problem to the team, and then letting the team speak about how to solve it with you mediating the discussion, not offering your solution. And so what Simon Sinek talks about, he talks about leaders eat last or leaders speak last. Then you're not biasing people in the team, particularly if people are very agreeable or they're yes kind of people. They're going to just go with your idea to try to make it work. But if you can influence the team after they've had the discussion around your idea, not telling people they're wrong necessarily, but blending it and coming up with a team approach is a really great way to run that. So good to have all you guys on board this morning. Annie, welcome. Melbourne in Australia, and good to have you guys back on deck and your lockdown complete. It's good to have you guys all happy and healthy and safe down there in Melbourne, and back. Good to have the borders open here in Australia as well. So we are obviously moving into summertime here in Australia for you guys watching. The lockdowns are kind of finishing, but we still need to be very diligent with managing the COVID pandemic here in Australia. But we are quite unique in that we're a little bit isolated, a little bit of international traveling starting to return, and quarantine when you come to Australia. But good to have you guys there in Melbourne back with us. So that's excellent. Okay, coming in at number 6, recommended by 75% of managers surveyed, bringing people together to solve problems. So I kind of jumped the gun on that one, developing new ideas to solve customers' problems. But at number 6, bringing people together to solve problems. So that's really your goal, in terms of managing your team or seeking high performance out of your team, is really thinking about how we can go ahead and have our team solve the problems. I live by this. Another one of my great sayings is the solution lies in the mind with the problem. The solution lies in the mind with the problem. If you put the problem in your own mind, then you're trying to solve it. But if you can figure out a way to put the problem in your team members' minds, you've got more computers working on processing and looking for solutions to the problem, and you're going to come up with something really great because you've got more context, more feedback. So the more you can push your team out to be having customer experiences, the more they're going to be listening to the customer's challenges and seeking to solve them. And then that top skill sitting at number 6 of new managers and supervisors is to work out how you can effectively bring people together to solve problems. I do it by bringing people into discussions. I do it by putting, success vision in front of people. So I'll say, in thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like for this customer? And then the team rally around that to solve the problem. So I spend a lot of time thinking about how I can be more influential in having people really think and live and breathe and trying to find a solution to a problem. So bringing people together to solve problems is something I've been personally working on, which helps me increase my capacity to do more. So the more I can delegate, the more I can rely on people, the more I can bring people together to solve problems, the more I can do, the more I can help you guys at scale. So that's about scaling yourself. The more you can facilitate bringing people together to solve problems, the more you can scale yourself, and the more you can do, and the more valuable you'll be for your team, and the more valuable you'll be for your organization. Let me know in the comments if this is good stuff. I think it's a great survey, and I think it's a good summary. I will go back over all of the numbers at the end of the presentation, but let me know in the comments if this is really interesting. If I'm going too quickly for you and you're struggling to take notes, but please make sure you are taking notes. And a really great way to anchor this learning is to be spending some more time today or tomorrow with your work colleagues talking about what I've talked about today. If this is good stuff, the more you talk about it, the more you're going to anchor your learning. And I'm super keen for you guys to anchor your learning. And if you can go ahead and talk to people about what we've talked about in this session, it's going to help you retain the learning, and you're going to get the dividends and the benefits of this investment of time. I'm really grateful for you investing your time here, and I want to see you actually being able to leverage this information. So Eric, thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. So if it's interesting, let me know in the comments, either on LinkedIn or YouTube. I'm super keen to get that feedback. I'm really looking for some of the best content for you guys, particularly over the next couple of weeks. I will take 2 weeks off over the Christmas break here in Australia through the summer, but then I'll be back straight on deck. We've got lots of content coming out. We've got some pre-recorded stuff ready to go for you guys, and there'll be lots of great videos still coming out. I'm personally going to take some time off because I need it. Okay, coming in at number 5, we are at the halfway mark now with our top 10 competencies and management skills for new managers and supervisors. These are the findings of 15,242 managers surveyed worldwide. So, and there's a great book highlighted that you could look at, which is Mind Tools for Managers: 100 Ways to Be a Better Boss. So we're going to come out with something very similar in 2021. I've been working on it all year, so that's on its way. Thank you very much, Ashley. I appreciate that. So yes, I am trying to add more value for you guys. So excellent. So as always, you can come back to the recording. So if you guys are missing, Luke just got an electric shock, static shock from the camera. So be careful, mate. Okay, so thank you very much, Ashley. A really great training session for you guys. That's what I'm thinking about with you guys. How can I help you guys improve? What else have we got up there? Yes, perfect. Yes, Barbara, absolutely. Hoping to refresh your management styles. So I overlay all of this, obviously, with my number one favorite word, which is empathy. We've got to empathize with our team members. Empathy, super high touch, super one-on-one, and then starting to think about breaking these skills down. Okay, let's get onto it. Number 5. Coming in at number 5 in the top 10 rated tips for managers, skills for managers, is understanding the needs of different stakeholders and communicating with them appropriately. So that's as rated, that was 75.8% of managers surveyed. You can see the numbers growing now. Understanding the needs of different stakeholders and communicating with them appropriately. We talk about it a lot, but sometimes it's hard to articulate. It's not a one-size-fits-all communication style. So we do need to be speaking to different people differently, and also thinking as a manager or a leader or a supervisor, how we can actually get people's attention, how we can influence them effectively, and how we need to actually, with a view to actually having them lift. Some people I'm pretty tough on because I can see that they may be a little bit relaxed and they need to really, I need to shake it up and get them moving. I love everybody dearly, and so sometimes I've got to be gentle with people. Sometimes I've got to be a little bit more pressure on people so that I can get them to improve and get their attention. Sometimes I start with subtle, and then I become subtle, and if people aren't listening, then I'll ramp it up. So it's those sorts of things to think about how we're going to communicate with people differently. But you must always come at it with love. So with love and empathy, and if you can come at the conversation with love and empathy, your body language is going to project correctly. You're not going to come across angry or frustrated. And so you're thinking about how we need to communicate differently with different people. In the same way as I communicate lots on videos, we've recently relaunched our email newsletter, The Best of Best. And so for communicating with people who want to read an email in place of watch videos, we're going to communicate with them a little bit differently from everything we're doing here at Best Practice. So I've got my job as a CEO, and I need to communicate with people as a CEO, and then I need to communicate with you guys as somebody who is doing videos on LinkedIn. So something to consider is how do you need to communicate differently with people, and thinking about the communication style so it's appropriate, professional, relaxed, all those kinds of things. So, with different people in the organization, particularly different stakeholders. Okay, coming in at number 4. I hope everybody's got their favorite beverage for our live stream today. I've got black coffee and water today. So I hope you've all got your favorite beverage. Let me know in the comments what your favorite beverage is. For those of you in the evening, maybe it's a warm beverage or an alcoholic beverage. It's always good to sit back and chill here with Best Practice and listen to the Kobe Summit audio experience, or it's coffee or tea. Let me know your favorite beverage. Always fun to see what everybody's got there in the community. Okay, coming in at number 4, recommended by 77.7% of managers, the numbers are going up, is knowing the key principles of good communication. We've got the 7 C's of communication: clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. So the 6 C's of communication is a good little framework to be using. So knowing the key principles of good communication. I am notorious, in fact, almost exclusively do all of my work here at Best Practice on this device. I rarely have time to open up a computer or open up a notebook or a laptop and do typing. And so often there is typos in my typing and in my emails. So I don't send a lot of emails because I type with my thumbs on my iPhone. So, that's just an example of poor form from me, or a mistake from me in terms of how I communicate. So something to think about with how you're communicating. I personally don't read a lot of email. Caitlin, my executive assistant, reads all my emails and then tells me the ones I need to read. So communicating with me via email is really not going to get my attention. It's not going to get the message across. So when we think about knowing the key principles of good communication, the busier someone is and the higher up they are in the hierarchy, you really need to be thinking about how can I actually be talking to them, in an effective way, or communicating in an effective way. Good to see you guys telling me what your favorite drink is there on YouTube. Barbara with hot tea, milk and sugar, excellent. And Eric with orange juice, excellent. So thanks guys for letting me know what you've got. I've got some of Dane's DANES Dane's Coffee, the Australian champion coffee roaster. We've got fresh coffee beans here in the coffee grinder, and we've got fresh coffee going here in the studio and in the office here at Best Practice in Sydney. So thanks guys. Excellent. Okay. Look, I think it's worth talking about a beverage. If you know your team's favorite beverage, it's a good way to build rapport with people. Some people's love language is gifts or acts of service, and bringing people's favorite beverage into a meeting is always, as a manager or as a leader, that's servant leadership, is a good management style to break the ice and get people's attention. So, thinking about people's favorite beverage and bringing them their favorite beverage when you go to a meeting is, and that's the reason why I asked. You can think about what's going to help them. Okay, so coming in at number 4, 77.7% of managers knowing the key principles of good communication. Let's talk about number 3. We're getting into the top 3 skills now of the top 10, the most common skills to be aware of, and focusing on in your organization for your team members. Annie, excellent to see you drinking Aldi pod coffee. Well done. Thumbs up there from me there. I hope it's fresh and it's brewed and it's tasty for you. Excellent. So number 3, coming in at number 3, considering many factors in decision making. A bit of a vague one, 77.8% of managers surveyed. So there is an acronym. Get ready for it if you've got a pen and paper ready. It's ORAPAPA, the ORAPAPA framework, which stands for opportunities, risks, alternatives, improvements, past experience, analysis, people, alignment, and of course you can add in the end ethics. So if we start thinking about considering many factors in decision making, I know that a weakness of mine is making decisions too fast. I don't often consider the whole situation before I make a decision. I just make the decision, move really quickly. On my psychometric test, we use the PXT program here at Best Practice, which we can tell you more about if you're interested in psychometric testing. If you want to test yourself as a manager and see you're fit for your management role, the team at Best Practice Talent can take you through a PXT assessment and give you a manager's report in terms of areas of strength and weakness from the psychometric test. I have a high sense of urgency and a high pace. I don't click my fingers in meetings saying, come on, let's move, but I think that way. So I have a high sense of urgency. And so I don't often, because I've got that high sense of urgency, I don't often deliberate over decisions long enough. I probably could take a little bit more time, not too much time, but considering many factors in decision making. So doing your due diligence, collecting data to help you make decisions. Excellent book I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Book recommendation for you guys who want the book recommendation is High Output Management by Andrew Grove. And Andrew Grove, in that book, God rest his soul, he's since passed away since he wrote the book. He was the CEO of Intel, the Intel processors that are in most of your devices that you'd be watching. That computer that you're watching this on is a good chance. If it's a PC, it's got an Intel processor. So Andrew Grove talks about managers collecting data and making decisions. So collect more data. That's going to help you make decisions. Disclaimer, don't get analysis paralysis. So considering many factors in decision making. So what opportunities are there? What are the risks? What are the alternatives? What are the improvements? What's past experience? What's analysis? What's people? What's alignment? What's ethics? So if you could use that framework, it's like kind of a checklist. So you don't get too bogged down in one corner of the data. With decision making, you get a well-rounded view. So you can ask yourself, have I considered all the opportunities? Have I considered all of the risks? Have I considered all the alternatives? Have I considered in potential improvements? Have I considered the past? Have I considered analysis? Have I considered people? Have I considered alignments? And what's the ethical thing to do? Often the unethical thing to do is to be frozen and not make the decision. And I think not making a decision and being too slow is as unethical as making the wrong decision. And so that's something I want you guys to be considering. Okay, so that was number 3, as voted by 77.8% of managers, considering many factors in decision making. Okay, let's get to the final 2. How are we going for time? We're at about the half an hour mark. If you have got questions, let me know in the comments if this is helping, if it's interesting for you guys watching afterwards. Is there somebody in your organization that you're going to share this video with? The video is going to sit on our YouTube channel. You can go to the bottom of the video. You can click the share button. You can copy the link and you can email it out to team members in your organization. I'd encourage you to do that. So if this is useful for you guys, if you think it's being really useful for managers and supervisors in your organization, hop across onto the Best Practice TV YouTube channel, click the share button, copy the link, paste it into an email, distribute it to your team in your organization, and maybe talk about a particular part of the video. Is there a particular skill or a particular trait or a particular part of this video that's relevant? You can always mark the timestamp and you can say, hey, watch from 5 minutes to 7 minutes, for example. So I hope that's all going to help everybody. Let me know in the comments your favorite part so far. Let's talk about number 2. I know everybody's waiting. I'm trying to create a bit of tension. Usually I do it the other way around and people lose interest at the end, but let's get into it. Build the momentum with this great video and keep going. Okay, point number 2. Luke's probably struggling with the volume because my voice is going up, but we'll deal with that with the podcast. Okay, if you haven't checked out the podcast, the Kobe Simmet audio experience, Luke's got a goal to get hundreds and hundreds of listens to the podcast. So on your favorite podcast platform, just search for me and you'll find me. Okay, number 2, prioritizing tasks effectively for yourself and your team, recommended by 79.5% of managers surveyed. Okay, what does that look like here at Best Practice? Here at Best Practice, we have a process that we try to train people on, which is an action plan. So first and foremost, capturing all the things that you think you need to do. And I'll just show you an example of how I do that. I have this day book. It's the reason why it's sitting here on the table. So I carry these books around. I've showed you these before. And this is my skill that basically I write everything down I need to do. Show you both cameras here. And I put a box here and I make myself a checklist. And then as I basically complete those items, I tick them off. So let me just find you a completed page. There's an example of a page that's complete. I do a big cross through it. Sometimes this is notes. There's a good one that's been finished. And so I basically sit down on a Sunday before the week starts. I make my plan for the week. I write down anything that's on my mind that needs to be done. And then I basically circle back to it. When I kind of finish being really busy and I have a break, I'll sit and look at my list and I'll say, right, what can I work on next? What's the most important thing? So by writing a list and then constantly asking yourself what's the most important thing, it's a really highly productive activity that you can be implementing. What we do here at Best Practice, we ask all of the managers to make sure that all of their team members have a to-do list and they're working through the priorities. And if they're unsure of the priorities, if someone's looking really flustered or stressed, then the manager can help them prioritize. So the most important thing is to get it written down, and then the manager helps people prioritize what's particularly on their list. So if you're thinking really, really busy, if you're a manager that likes to delegate, the best way that you can be effectively delegating when you're a new manager is by asking all of your team members to be writing those things down. Okay, Eric. You've got the same technique. That's excellent. So in design offices, like architectural practices and engineering practices, here particularly in Australia, we call this a day book. So here at Vanessa, for example, who runs the marketing team, she keeps a Google Doc sitting on her desktop, on her screen, and she just types the stuff because she can type very quickly. I personally like the old school thing. I buy these very special pens, or ask my team members to buy these very special pens. Kelly John Woods went to the Office Works store, I think about 2 weeks ago, and bought me another handful of these special felt tip pens. They're a 0.5 half a millimeter tip felt tip pen, and I've got these books that are nice paper, and I like to sit down in the mornings when I wake up early in the morning and I make my list for the day and I check in where I'm at for the week. So coming in at number 2, prioritizing tasks effectively for yourself and your team is recommended by 79.5% of managers surveyed. So that's an excellent one. It's been part of the history. It's been part of the success here at Best Practice, is constantly having this to-do list. And I even write to-do list sometimes at the top, particularly if I've got a very busy day. I'll write that down and say, right, these are the things I need to really focus on, and keep coming back to them. And there's lots and lots of pages, and if I can keep going, and then you can see there's new pages being started. Specifically on Monday, I had some important stuff I'd been thinking about, but I hadn't written them down. Knocked them off on Monday morning, which was excellent. Okay, everybody's been waiting for about 36 minutes for number 1. I appreciate everybody's time. Let's quickly get on and talk about number 1. Here are the highest ranked skills. This is the highest ranked skill from the survey that was reported by the American Association of Management. Surveyed, the London Business School reported this in the American Association of Management. 15,242 managers surveyed worldwide said that the number 1 skill, highest ranked skill for you guys as new managers and supervisors, is building good working relationships with people at all levels. So recommended by 79.9% of managers surveyed, number 1 was building good working relationships with people at all levels. Here at Best Practice, I talk lots about the love languages, and I talk about, trying to figure out or ask people what their 5, what of the 5 love languages is their love language, so I can make better bids for connection with people. I'm trying to basically connect with them on their level, connect with them in terms of, so it's meaningful, and that I'm not sort of missing the point or missing the connection, because I can have an effective and a good working relationship with everybody in the organization. We can all work more effectively and achieve more without friction between team members. So coming in at number one, building good working relationships with people at all levels. I personally use the 5 love languages. So I'll ask people what their love language is, and I'll make sure I'm giving, showing gratitude to them with their specific love language. So we start with that, and then we talk about super high touch, super one-on-one. So it's super regular one-on-ones with people, particularly with direct reports to you, with your team members. If you are a manager, if you are somebody who is talking to people, if you're somebody who's leading people, influencing people, responsible for people, it's absolutely essential that you're catching up with those people, short and sweet one-on-ones on an absolutely regular basis. And some of the conversations that I was in yesterday that were very complicated were about a lack of regular one-on-ones with people. And once I get that started, the whole situation can improve itself. So super one-on-one, lots of empathy. You're going to get great. Working relationships with people. And Eric, you're absolutely right. People aware is the key. Absolutely. Being people aware and understanding that. So, okay. So any questions from anybody? What do you think of this video? I think it's a great, the top 10 videos. I think, what are we up to? Is this episode 7 of our new format for our videos? I think, Luke, episode 7 of Ask Best Practice. We do want to get you guys asking more questions. I perform much better when you guys ask me questions and tell me what's on your mind. So if you are prepared to comment, I've got a question for you guys. What's on your mind? And that's a question for you guys there in the comments for you guys watching. If you're happy to share what's on your mind, let me have a think about whether I can help you with any of that stuff. More importantly, if you get our emails and you're on the email list, if you have got a question, I'm always happy if you want to share what's on your mind in the email list. Send us an email back to kobe.simat@bestpractice.biz. That's the subscription email address for our live streaming. There's a few people checking that account. You can get emails through to me that way. If you have got any personal questions, I won't name your name, but I'll come online, because there's often people, you guys are all in very similar roles, very similar thinking. You're like-minded in a lot of ways. And you're coming on to learn more, and obviously you've got a great growth mindset. So massive shout out to all of you for jumping on today and watching and searching and finding this video and watching this video and getting this far through. You are of a growth mindset and a learning mindset. What I want to help you do is be more efficient, show you some of the potholes, mistakes, and disasters that I've had so that you can avoid them. That's my hope for these videos. So I'm not seeing any comments yet from anyone who's got anything specific on their mind, but let me know in the comments, yes or no, has this been helpful? Okay, you missed number 10. Okay, Ashley missed number 10. That was the first one. Number 10. All right, let's go back through them. All right, excellent, Rebecca. I'll get to your question. Thank you very much. So guys, while I go through I'm going to go back over the number 10. If you've got a comment or a question, I'll go over all of the 10 right now to do a summary. Tell me what's on your mind. So for all of you there that are watching and commenting, Rebecca, I'll get to you, and then I can see the dashboard on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So let me know what's on your mind. You've got time to type that comment. I'll see it come up. And then if there's nothing on your mind, just say, yep, no, I'm all good right now. Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's go through the 10. Get ready if you haven't taken notes. So number 10, Ashley, was using emotional intelligence, as voted by 72.1% of managers surveyed. So using emotional intelligence. And my tip there was to search the emotion wheel as a Google Images search, so you can understand all the different labels or names of emotions. And then you can start to look at that in the people around you, and you can say, oh, I think they're feeling this emotion. Okay, what can I do to help them with that? And that's about being a great leader and a manager. Okay, number 9 was building trust within your team. Number 8 was cultivating relationships with customers. Number 7, developing new ideas to solve customers' problems. Number 8 was bringing people together to solve problems. Number 5 was understanding the needs of different stakeholders and communicating appropriately with them. Number 4 was knowing the principles of good communication and using the 7 C's, which was clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. Number 3 was considering many factors in decision-making using the ORAPA framework, which was ORAPAPA framework, which is opportunities, risks, alternatives, improvements, past experience, analysis, people, alignment, ethics. It's like a checklist for considering factors in decision-making. And number 2, prioritizing tasks effectively for yourself and your team, and then building good working relationships with people at all levels. Just on number 2, another thing that I do in the back of this day book that I carry around when I have catch-ups with people, I write their name at the top of a page, and then I'll write the notes from the catch-up or the things I want to talk about. And so, for example, a specific person's name up here and the discussion notes from the discussion. So I can circle back to it if I've asked them to do something or I've talked about it. So there's a meeting here with an individual that I caught up with, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points to talk about in that session. That session went for about an hour and a half. So a meeting with some exec managers, my minutes here on this page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points that I wrote down and we talked about. So it's at the top of the page at the back, another catch up with somebody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points there. Another catch up with somebody, actually 3 catch ups on this page. 1 note from that catch up, 2 notes from that catch up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points from that catch up. So that's my catch ups in the back of the book. So I dedicate a page to each person so I can help them prioritize. Okay, Ashley, so you've got all number 10, I hope, there on YouTube. Okay, let me get to Rebecca's what's on her mind, breaking into business as an entrepreneur and also thinking about entering into a new field of work. Okay, when we're breaking into business as an entrepreneur, if this can help in terms of a starting point, I'm more than happy to have a Zoom call with you. I'm quite an entrepreneurial person, although I don't call myself an entrepreneur. From being customer focused, I worry that if I label myself as an entrepreneur, that there's a perception that I might fail. So I like to talk more about my why rather than my what. So using Simon Sinek, if you like, which is I'm super passionate about helping organizations and helping people to do meaningful work, and about organizations and places you go to work to be fun places to work, to have a great customer experience and to be a great place to invest in. So for yourself, if you think about your why, breaking into business and starting to talk to people about what you're super passionate about, then they're going to go, oh, actually, I really like that, and engage with you. And so, challenge number 1 is, are we going to get some customers? So starting to think about the first name and the last name of your first customer, your second customer, your third customer, what you're going to charge them. So if you're going to give them an invoice or a receipt or a bill for services rendered or product, think about what that is, and that's going to future pace yourself. So I hope that's quite helpful. And so in terms of breaking into business as an entrepreneur, it's starting to think about, okay, what's my runway? I started my business 16 years ago with $8,000 cash in the bank, and I tried to keep my living expenses as absolutely low as possible. So I had runway, basically. So I had 16 weeks, at $500 a week where I could afford to not have any income. And then as soon as I got some income, that gave me another week. And then I got a bit more income, it gave me another 3 weeks. And I got some more income, it gave me 5 weeks. And then that sort of came back down to 8 weeks and down to 6 weeks. And I said to myself, when I only had 4 weeks left of savings, 4 weeks of lifestyle expenses, that's when I would basically go and quickly get a job. And I gave myself 4 weeks to be able to get a job. So I was like, no, I'm going to focus on getting customers, not getting a job. Some people talk about not having a plan B, but I think it is good to have an exit strategy. So whether that's a positive exit or a negative exit. So rather than having a plan B, having an exit strategy if your first version doesn't work. So I'm more than happy to for you, Rebecca, to have a chat or a Zoom call for 30 minutes. I can help you. So I help lots of business owners. We can just have a chat and I'll give you some of my tips and tricks and you can ask me some questions. So if you want to set that up anytime, just send me a direct message there on LinkedIn and Caitlin can help grab 30 minutes in my calendar. You can just ask me questions and I'll answer them and we'll go from there. And that's an open invitation to everybody watching this right now. I'm always more than happy to jump on and have a call. Annie, thanks very much. And I'm more than happy to share our best practices because we are a sandbox here at Best Practice. Influencing my co-owner with decision making is what's on your mind. That's an excellent one. So I do a lot of work with other members of businesses where I'm a joint director or a business partner, and I have that challenge on a daily basis. What I do with my best practice, if you like, with those people is I just keep coming back to the goal. And I say, right, we're here. Let's talk about the goal first, what we're trying to achieve. Sometimes that's money. I'm not necessarily money driven, but a lot of the people that I'm business partners with are more money driven than myself. And I say, okay, let's talk about the money goal. Let's talk about, like, we're going to spend the next 45 minutes working out how to get closer to that goal. And then that helps with the decision making, because then it's sort of cooperative approach to the end game, rather than an objective of doing something or doing some, how or what. We can talk about that overarching objective. So I try to get alignment as high as possible on the goals or the dashboards before we get down into the weeds, because we really want to work in partnership. We've got different jobs to do with your co-owner. You've got sort of different strengths, and hopefully their weaknesses are your strengths and your strengths are their weaknesses, if that makes sense. So if I said that right. So I think the higher you can elevate the goal, the joint goal, and start the conversation with that why, start with why, then that's definitely going to be a short tip that's something I constantly have a battle with on a daily basis. In fact, a lot of what went on yesterday, where I was a bit serious, was all about just getting back to those big goals and helping people. So Subis, something that's on your mind, good communication, empathy, or was that your favorite bit? So let me know. Good communication and empathy. I think starting with empathy. I think the other thing too is I do fall into the trap sometimes of not paying attention to who I'm communicating with. And if your communication is generic, say you're doing videos like this, for example, the more that I know exactly who I'm talking to, the better I can direct it. And, we were just saying before we started here, live streaming, do I ever get nervous? Got some people here in the studio helping me this morning, got Shalika, Cam and Luke. They asked me if I was nervous. I was like, no, I don't get nervous, because I can see who I'm talking to. I'm just here to help you guys. So this isn't about me. This is just about sharing my tips and tricks with you that have helped me to be successful. And if you guys can take and steal my ideas, that's the whole exercise here. So for you guys out there, you can live by the analogy: good artists copy, great artists steal. So if you guys can steal my ideas and implement them, make them your own, then that would be awesome. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate that. I'm trying to do my best to help the ISO community. And the more you guys can help me, the more you guys can share, hit that share button and send links out to people, and we can get more people on watching, the more people I can help. So that's how you guys, I'd really love your support with that. The more that you guys, if you see a post on social media, if you see a post on LinkedIn from us here at Best Practice, please like it, hit the like button so we know that we're adding you guys some value, and comment on it. Particularly if you see LinkedIn, we're pushing pretty hard on LinkedIn to grow our LinkedIn page. We've got the Best Practice LinkedIn page where there's lots of this kind of stuff coming out in short snippets. So there's stuff on LinkedIn, there's stuff on Instagram, there's stuff on Facebook, there's lots on YouTube, and obviously the podcast. So pick your favorite platform. And if you're also keen to read emails, we're doing a best of best email once a week. Gabby's working on that right now. So we look at the best content. We've had a few posts on LinkedIn in the last week go well over 100,000 views, which has been great for us here at Best Practice. Getting some really great organic reach and traction on LinkedIn. So we're going to be sharing those posts. So, the most popular posts that we've had in the last week go out in the best of best email. The other thing that we've been doing, the magazine's disappeared, but we literally had a meeting at this table yesterday. Magazine, up. So where are they, the new ones?
Behind that one. Mine's certified.
Here. Okay. So this magazine, Infinite Magazine, is that right? Yes, Infinite Magazine. That was released this year in 2020. This is a 32-page magazine which you can download from the Best Practice website. Let me know in the comments if you've read this, yes or no. We'll get the link posted to Infinite Magazine. We literally had a meeting at this table yesterday planning Infinite Magazine for 2021. We usually do 4 editions of this magazine. We only did 1 this year because of the pandemic. So next year we're going to go out to 100 pages. So 100 pages, is the camera working? All good? Okay. We are going, just had a small glitch with the camera, I apologize. So we're going to go to 100 pages to make up for 2020. So in 2021, Infinite Magazine's going to 100 pages. It'll be out by about April 2021. So we've started the planning. It's going to be 100 great pages of this great content in text and Word. Apologize for the camera. It's straight back on. So what we've got there is something for you guys to download. If you want to get onto the print email list, it's a free subscription. We'll send it out to you guys. So make sure you're getting our emails, and then that's how you're going to get yourself sent anywhere in the world a copy of the new magazine, which is going to be really exciting. That's going to be coming out about April 2020. So you heard it here first, exclusively to this group. For you guys that waited till the end of the video, that's some exciting news. So if there's anything specific you want us to be talking about, lots of great content in this magazine. We'll get the link to this one put in the comments so that you can have a read of it if you haven't got it already. So let me know in the comments if you have seen this magazine, either soft or hard copy or not, because I'm keen to know if it's getting out to everybody, but you can download that. This was issue 6. So there are 6 versions of this magazine, which is lots of this great content that I'm talking about, but it's in print form, obviously. Book reviews, lots of great stuff. Okay, no further comments. Yes, Barbara, you do need to read that. 100% you need to read that. So we'll get the link so you can literally start reading that in 15 minutes. It's on our website. You can jump straight on the website, access it. It's free, and then download it and you get straight into it, which is excellent. Okay. So I hope everybody enjoyed their favorite beverage. I hope you enjoyed our new format. I hope you enjoyed everything going on. I hope you're enjoying all of our social media. So I need some help from you guys. I need help getting more exposure, and you guys are going to help me do that. I appreciate everybody coming on, and I appreciate your time, and I want to help more people. And the way I'm going to help more people is through word of mouth referral. Is there somebody you thought about in this presentation that could benefit from this video? I would really appreciate if you could share it. So either tag them in the comments. If there are people in your team that you would like to see this live stream and you're watching on LinkedIn, type their name in the comments. It'll search them up on LinkedIn, and then obviously tag them, and that's how you tag somebody in the comments on LinkedIn. And equally, clicking that, if you're on YouTube, click the share button, copy the link. So when you click the share button, a little pop-up comes up, the URL comes up. You can copy that URL, paste it, or paste that into an email and send that out, or you can send it via text message or Facebook Messenger to as many people as possible, because that would really help us here at Best Practice. Okay, appreciate everybody's thanks. Appreciate everything that everybody has done. If you don't see me right here over the next 24 hours on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, we're going to do some TikTok videos right now for you guys. If you're not following us on TikTok, search Kobe Simmet on TikTok. We've got some great business videos with a bit of fun on TikTok. And if you don't see me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you'll definitely see me right here in 23 hours time. Right here for the next live stream. We are talking about, tomorrow's topic is the 7 items to discuss in your management review. The 7 most important items to discuss in your management review as part of your business system process. If you've got an ISO management system, then please get on and do that. So if there's anybody, please give them a call, send them a message to listen and watch this video. And I will see you guys all in 23 hours time right here next time on Best Practice TV.